primary hepatic neuroendocrine carcinoma.
So can you give us some insight as to exactly what that means? Probably explain it to us like I'm a 12-year-old, because that's a lot of syllables in that.
A really rare kind of cancer that invaded my liver and took over. I don't know how else to tell you. Well, your liver performs like over 800 different kinds of functions in your body. Without your liver, you can't survive. So basically, I was in end stage pretty quickly after all the different chemo and radiation seeds and all that kind of stuff. A failed liver resection and all the other junk that goes along with trying to get rid of cancer and trying to take care of you in that respect, and ended up with a liver transplant in March of 2011, which was awesome. And right after my birthday that year, they're like, oh, guess what, you're cancer-free, so that's good news. We'll be watching you very closely for the next 10 years, though. That's about it.
Well, I see here that you have some involvement with this patient navigation program at University of Maryland. I used to work at University of Maryland, but I knew nothing about that, so maybe you can give us some insight as to what the actual patient navigation program is like and what it actually does for you.
Well, the patient navigation program at the University of Maryland involves a really awesome program that the Bellman Cancer Fund for Young Adults put together. Elizabeth Saylor is there, and she's basically a social worker that is specifically assigned to young adults with cancer. So she is the one that basically holds your hand, provides you with resources. If you need help getting your paperwork together, if you need help understanding what your treatment's going to be like, if you need resources to get to and from your appointments, if you need help trying to make sure that you can pay your bills, that kind of thing, getting to your appointments, getting help while you're going through treatment is really helpful too, because you're too tired to do a lot of stuff. So her job is to basically help connect you with different resources that can help you get on with your daily and practical living. One of the things that they helped me with was getting set up with a labor lawyer and some other things so that I can continue going to work full time, but also being able to get the time off when I needed it.
Well, that's great. I don't want you to go too far, because I got a story over here that Tom, back off. It's not a joke. Tom, I understand that you first were diagnosed as having a 4.5 pound tumor, if I'm correct. 4.5 pounds. And I can't even begin to explain this. I need you to explain to our audience exactly how many different diagnoses or possibilities that your doctors actually told you about this, and work your way through how you actually found out it was cancer.
Well, first of all, I guess I got a picture if anybody wants to see it later of the tumor.
After the panel. After the breakfast has gone down and settled.
I just had a number of very, what I thought were minor things going on with my body, and after, they were all very explainable to me, but eventually they did not go away. So I went to an urgent care place, and he did a bunch of tests, and he said it could have been HIV, diabetes, tapeworm, a bacterial infection, or a fungal infection, which is pretty much the spectrum of things that can happen to you. And he never mentioned cancer until eventually they called for a chest x-ray and found a big mass right here.
Now, I understand that obviously you went through treatment, but after the treatment, if I'm correct, you did the 4K for cancer. I know nothing about the 4K for cancer. Can you, and maybe nobody else here does, but can you explain to me exactly what that entailed? But at the same time, how did you completing the 4K of cancer figure into your training, your treatment, and everything else that went along with that?
Well, for everybody that doesn't know, one of the things we get on 4K, and there's a couple other alumni here, is they say 4K. Well, I've run a 5K, that's less, but it's really 4,000 miles because we bike across the country. And the cool part of that story is that I completed biking across the country less than a year after getting diagnosed and completing treatment for the cancer. As far as how it factored into my plans, really, when I was going through the whole chemo and surgeries and all that stuff, to me that was defense, and getting on the bike and riding was offense. And I could actually go and do something positive towards the fight for cancer. So it was my reintroduction back to the real world, as well as the ability to help fight and you know, I at that point I was done, but to help other people that needed more long-term care.
I gotta ask, you know, I'm a novice at this whole process of moderating. I'm actually a novice at the whole concept of cancer and the various types of cancer. So when you come to an event like this and you get to just meet with survivors, you get to meet with people who have lost loved ones or riding for loved ones, what is it that, I'll start with Jessica, what is it that you tell people about your fight, and how do you try to inspire people to continue the journey of fighting as well as participating in events like this? And then I'll move back over to Tom to get some insight as to what you do also.
It's a really big question. I guess the biggest thing is that I don't want to cry. That my life was over, and I shouldn't be here, but I am. And doing something like this is because I can. And there are so many other people who have, I think, really moving and inspirational cancer stories of their own that sometimes I'm like, man, I had it easy. And I think what helps me keep going is the fact that I know that, you know, basically someone literally had to pass away in order for me to live. So my life was saved. But something that I say a lot is you don't have to save a life to change a life. And being out here fundraising for 24 Hours of Booty for Live Strong and Ulm Cancer Fund, you know, you don't have to give up your liver in order to make a real difference in somebody's life. And this means riding a 2-mile loop for as many times as you can for 24 hours. That's a huge deal because so many of us, when we're going through treatment, it's just hard to get up, you know? So being able to do things that your body, you didn't realize that your body can do is an incredible way to show that, well, cancer tried to kick my ass and I kicked it back. Woo!
Yeah, Jess!
Tom, I don't know if you can top that. If you make me cry, there's going to be some problems here.
Well, I just got to echo what she says, really. One of the things we did on the 4K is we would talk to people who are undergoing treatment currently, and the thing you say is, well, you know, I have a choice to get off the bike and get in the van or whatever, but you don't have a choice. You have to go through chemo every day, or your next surgery, or just go into the next checkup, and, you know, having that moment of panic when the doctor says, well, your test results are back, and you don't know what's going on. So that's what we told everybody. In my opinion, biking across the country was way worse than chemo, but yeah, that's the motivating factor is you can get off the bike, sure, you can have a delicious breakfast, but just do one more loop, because we had to do one more chemo. Just one more. That's all.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we get a round of applause for our panel discussion people here? Please.